question from a reader. How do I create the ability to give myself permission to do whatever the fuck I am compelled to do, love the F-bomb, that my heart screams for me to do, but I buckle in fear or judgment if failing? Okay. So notice my pauses. How do I create the ability to give myself permission to do? So I'm going to say fuck permission. I think that that's like a popular way of phrasing, oh, I just need to give myself permission. No, you just need courage. This whole idea that I'm not giving myself permission seeking inwardly, I mean, it's like, I get the frame, but I don't think it's useful. I think it actually takes you away from your power because it makes you think it's about something that it isn't. So let's change the question as a suggestion. How do I create the ability to have the courage? Let's just condense that. How do I create the courage to do whatever the fuck I'm compelled to do, that my heart screams for me to do, when I typically maybe just buckle in fear of or judgment if I fail? So let's condense that even more. How do I create the courage to do what I want to do, what I'm compelled to do, when I'm afraid of failing? How do I create the courage to do what's true, what I'm called to, what I'm afraid of failing? Okay, now I'll give you an answer. Now that I've helped you make the question better. See, it's important. The question, for me to answer a question that's not powerful is not powerful because it leaves in place a bunch of ideas that are part of the obstacle. And so sometimes just by improving the question, it's like, boom, you get the answer. Now, a lot of these questions that I'm answering are because I sent an email out to the top readers on my list, and I said, you're one of the top readers. What's a question that you have? It's a powerful question, the answer to which would change everything for you, and now I'm creating answers for them. And a lot of people I wrote back to was like, that's not powerful enough. You got to get better at it. And so part of the reason for me to, you got to give me a better question. Part of the reason for me coaching people in asking a better question is because that's where most of the juice is. Most of the power is in the question. So now that we've got a more powerful question, how do I create the courage to do what I'm called to do when I'm afraid of failing? Now we can answer that in a powerful way. Because we get that all we need is courage, and then I can do the thing. So where does courage come from? Courage comes from cor in Latin, which means heart in Latin. So courage is a feeling in the heart, right? And so when your heart is alive and has energy in it, that's greater than the fear that lives in your belly. It's really just like this feeling versus that feeling. How do I create a bigger feeling here and a smaller feeling down there? Because when these shift, when this one gets stronger and that one gets weaker, boom, then I go. Then I'm in action. Right? So how do I create courage to do the thing that I'm afraid of failing around? So we want to get bigger courage and smaller fear. So there's two things you can do basically at the same time. So let's talk about each of them. I want to reduce the fear so that the courage that I have right now is enough, and I also want to increase the courage. How do I reduce the fear? I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of the judgment if I were to fail. I talk about this all the time. When you fear something, you fear failing something, really play it out in your imagination. Like follow that rabbit. Follow that, like play. Okay, worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? They boo me off the stage. Okay, they booed me off the stage. And then what? Well, I'm afraid if they booed me off the stage, then I would be depressed. Okay, and then what? Well, then I wouldn't be working and I wouldn't make any money. Okay, and then what? Then I'd be on the street. And then what? Well, then that would suck. I'd be living on the street. And then what? Well, I guess then I'd get a job and start working and get myself off the street. Exactly. Every single time when you follow your fear all the way, and then what? Like you play it out, what's going to happen? You're going to bang against your resourcefulness because it's inside you. And you're going to find out that no matter how fucking bad it gets, you will rise up from the ashes of that terrible circumstance and you will be okay. Right? And so if you're willing to actually look at the fear and play it out, you're going to find a light at the end of that dark tunnel that is the truth of your power that you already know deep down inside. And the moment you see that, you'll feel that. And guess what happens to the fear when you can see that and feel that authentically? Gone, vanish. It's not, if not completely vanished, it goes down dramatically. So the fear in the belly shrinks. All right, let's talk about the other side. So you've shrunken the fear. How do you increase the courage? What is courage? It's love in the heart. What is love in the heart? It's typically this, well, I'm not going to try to define love in the heart. How do we activate love in the heart? the easiest way to activate love in the heart is to see the impact that it would have on other people, right? Like we can use the orientation towards other as a hack to activate love in the heart. So what difference would it make for others out there? Oh, it would make a big difference for people. No, don't just give me some conceptual language. Like, go into it. Use your imagination. Follow the rabbit. Play it out. Like, for example, specifically, what would happen? Who would be impacted? How would they be impacted? What would be different in their life? How would that affect their family? Like, actually feel the impact through using your imagination, and allow yourself to get drawn into the story of the difference that you doing that thing would make for others in the world. And guess what you're going to feel as you see those people's lives actually changing in your imagination? You're going to feel love in your heart. It will give you courage. When you think about courage, you think about somebody running into a battle. Why are they doing that? Because there's something they fucking care about more than that bullet piercing their body. They're connected to the service and the possibility of making a difference for others. That's what courage is. So use your imagination to go through fear to the light of your resourcefulness and liberate yourself. That fear will shrink. And use your imagination to follow specifically into the actual results and the impact that you will make when you do the thing. Your heart will fill with love. You'll be filled with courage. You do those two things, you're unstoppable. Thank you for your question. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading. I love you. Stick around for more. I'll talk to you soon.